Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. Today we will discuss about Pakistan's farcical actions on terrorism. Zakiur Rahman Lakhvi, a top commander of Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba terror outfit and mastermind of carnage in Mumbai in 2008, has been arrested by police in Lahore in connection with terror financing. Significantly, his arrest comes just weeks before the meeting of the Financial Action Task Force, a multi-nation global watchdog on terror financing, which will decide whether Pakistan should remain on its watch list or be blacklisted for support to terror. Otherwise, Lakhvi has been moving and operating freely in Pakistan. So, are such actions by Pakistan aimed at hoodwinking the global community? We will discuss this in the agenda today with two experts. We have with us retired Brigadier Vinod Datta and Mr. Jitendra Kumar Oja, who is an expert on geopolitical matters. But before we begin our conversation, let's have a look at this small report.
Pakistan Police Counter-Terrorism Department has said that it has arrested Zakiur Rahman Lakhvi, who is Operations Commander of Lashkar-e-Taiba terror outfit, in a case of terror financing. According to the Counter-Terrorism Department officials, Rahman was arrested as he was running a dispensary to generate funds for the purpose of diverting the same to terrorism. The officials, however, did not give exact details of the charges, nor the place of arrest or where he has been kept after arrest. Clearly, the entire episode looks fishy, since the charges for arrest are innocuous when he is involved in hugely gruesome carnage in Mumbai in November 2008. Lakhvi was the mastermind of the Mumbai terror attack in which 166 people, including foreigners, were killed. India has provided mounds of evidence to Pakistan, but there has been no concrete action against him in that case. This despite the fact that UN Security Council has proscribed Lakhvi for his involvement in global terrorism. The arrest of Lakhvi in some frivolous case is clearly an attempt by Pakistan to hoodwink the global community ahead of the crucial meeting of Financial Action Task Force or FATF, a Paris-based multinational watchdog on terror financing. FATF is meeting early next month to review whether Pakistan has taken action on steps mandated by it, failing which the country can be blacklisted. Blacklisting will mean that Pakistan won't be able to get aid or loan from international monetary bodies like World Bank, IMF, Asian Development Bank. The FATF member countries must see through the farcical actions by Pakistan aimed at misleading them. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests, Mr. Oja and Brigadier Datta. Welcome to the program, sir. I'll first turn to Mr. Oja. You must have read about arrest of Lakhvi in Lahore in some innocuous case of terror financing. How do you see that?
Look, Pakistan has been trying to hoodwink international community by piecemeal actions or this kind of one-off actions, especially when of this blacklisting looms large at them. But I also believe that the international community has to be very sincere and India has to take initiative because the entire internal structure or dynamics in Pakistan is such that its military establishment itself is perpetrating terror. It is one of the biggest beneficiaries of terror, and I don't think that action by Financial Action Task Force alone is going to be sufficient. Reason being, there are massive organized crime network which Pakistani security establishment has been running all over the world. There are a large number of people who know only one thing, that is organized crime, and part of this organized crime, terror, radicalism. Both terror and radicalism go hand in hand along with, I would say, organized crime. Unless we focus on all three dimensions, I don't think we are going to go anywhere. I consider it just a hogwash aimed at hoodwinking international community and FATF.
Okay, Brigadier Datta, as you heard Mr. Oja talking about hoodwinking effort by Pakistan. So significantly, I want to point out that he has been arrested in some, vague case. There is no specification about the case. What was the case related to that? He was running a dispensary and earning money, raising money for terror. At the same time, when we see that Mumbai terror carnage of 2008 was so heinous, in that case, there is no action by Pakistan. What do you say on that?
Right, that Pakistan always, comes out, it will pull out a rabbit out of the hat just before the review of this FATF list is being done. Since the review is now around the corner, that is next month. And now, suddenly out of blue, Lakhvi has been arrested. And if you see CTD, that is Counter-Terrorism Department, they have not disclosed where he has been arrested. They say somewhere in Punjab. Now, this is also
and Brigadier Datta, I may point out that they have not said where he has been taken. Maybe he is in some guest house or maybe a 5-star hotel.
This is what they do. They always, they arrest you and then they'll put you under some detention where all facilities and सारी जो सहूलियतें हैं वो मुहैया कराई जाती हैं इनको. So it is just an eyewash. And what Mr. Roja had said is right, that the international community, I don't know how long are they going to take to understand these kind of gimmicks which Pakistan is playing. So it is high time that they should make an example out of these people, because you see what they have done is now he has been running some dispensary which Shafa Khane wo chalate hain. And if you see the Lashkar-e-Toiba, the Tanzeems were renamed like Harkatul Dawa. So in the guise of running dispensary, they are churning out funds. They are supporting themselves. They are supporting these Tanzeems. And ISI has got a very favorable inclination towards these organizations. So either they are changing the names, or like you see, when Article 370 was promulgated in India, they started with a new organization called TRF. So
right.
The global organizations, they have they have the best of the intelligence agencies. They have got the best of a framework which can find out that who's throwing such kind of reviews, or who's hoodwinking the entire world community.
Right. Mr. Oja, as we talk about this case, which I said it's an innocuous case, and what I feel is that this kind of running a dispensary and raising money for terrorism may be just maybe a mask to arrest him somehow in some small case, to tell FATF that we have taken action against him since he is a UNSC proscribed terrorist. What do you say?
Last year also, 2018 and 2019, this FATF and especially all the Asia Pacific Group on Countering Terror Finance, I went through these provisions and their report, and report clearly said that in 1 year they had complied with only one instruction of the FATF, and most of these instructions they had failed. And the FATF itself had observed that their national risk analysis was deficient, and compared to the threat, there was very negligible effort from Pakistani state side. Even sometimes, counter-terror divisions at the smaller level, even if they were active, they were somehow intervened. Look, Pakistan is such a kind of political system where military calls the shot and no other institution exists. So as long as military enjoys this kind of clout within Pakistan, they are not going to let anyone touch them. This will go on. I know that there is international pressure, some civilian elements, or somebody may be trying to request them to do something, orchestrate some incident of this nature so that they can hoodwink international community. And I am also convinced that, in 41 members, this APG, all major powers were present, but none of them uttered a word against Pakistan. Not because, they have any soft corner, because most of these countries, I have discussed also earlier on your show, they depend on Pakistan in one form or the other, for their counter-terror strategies or operations, and somehow they managed to convince even a number of Western countries, because, these Pakistani origin radicalized groups are very active in Luton to Bradford and so many areas in London. And
Right.
even their agencies have been dependent on them. So is the case with many European countries. None of them, they want to antagonize Pakistan beyond a point. We know even in Afghanistan, how Americans need Pakistani ISI's help to extricate themselves. And right now, this Taliban has been carrying out killing in Afghanistan, and their top leadership has been there in Pakistan. So Pakistan is, if you say on this thing that it is an epicenter of terror, speaking is not going to help, Ajayji. This is a war. This is a covert war which has been declared against India. India has to find out innovative ways and means and cost-effective ways and means, I would say, not necessarily military means alone, to break resolve of Pakistan, to sustain this thing. And unless and until we do something of that nature, I believe that this kind of thing is going to go on. Pakistan will manage to get away from the noose that has tightened. And this is what my major apprehension is. We have to change our strategy, and of course military strategy. As you said, we have surgical strikes. All these options are there. But we have to go way beyond that to strike the very wherewithal and very capacity of Pakistan to sustain this infrastructure of terror. And when I talk about infrastructure of terror, I don't mean Lakhvi alone. I mean every possible source, every possible instrument that radicalizes people in Pakistan, and beyond that, as well as the financial aspect. Both these have to be targeted. And to that extent, I feel that this is just an attempt to con international community.
So, Brigadier Datta, as we talked about, that FATF meeting is coming up in early February, next month. So, is it, as I said earlier, could it be a smoke screen for the FATF? Because their last meeting in October, they had said that Pakistan has met out of 27 mandated tasks, Pakistan has met only 21. So, 6 were still remaining. So, could it be a ploy to maybe mislead the FATF?
Yes, definitely, Kaul Sahab. You have just hit the nail on the head. You take the case of Lakhvi. He was, on bail since 2015.
Right.
What suddenly, ऐसी कौन सी आकाशवाणी हुई कि Lakhvi should be arrested just before the meeting. And as you rightly brought out, on 21st October 2020, when we had a plenary meeting, Pakistan, failed to fulfill those obligations which you have rightly brought out. And they could not take action against Masood Azhar, Hafiz Saeed. And, there is a trio of Hafiz Saeed, Masood Azhar and Lakhvi. So, by no stretch of imagination, Pakistan cannot justify all these...
Pakistan has already taken care of Hafiz Saeed. They have now arrested him in some case. And also Masood Azhar, they have taken care of, maybe putting him in the back burner, and now his nephew Rauf is acting, he is the chief. He is now doing everything. So they have done all things to maybe smoke screen. What do you say?
That's right. You see, by changing the names of the tanzeems, by changing the hierarchy, if you see the TRF is nothing. It is basically a different organization which
it's only a name change. It's only a name change.
It is only a name change. Like there were 7,600 terrorists which were discussed in 21st October 20 list. Suddenly, all of them disappeared, and the list shrank to almost 4,000 terrorists. I mean, it is not a magic wand or something that those people, they became bilkul shaitan se ekdam sadhu ho gaye.
Right.
So, these kind of, hogwash or eyewash on part of Pakistan, I mean, people should take cognizance of it. And we have been sending the best of the brains, the best of intelligentsia, the best of academicians, the best of politicians to the United Nations. If this is the outcome, I mean, it leaves a very big question mark on the credentials of such big...
I'll come back to you on the United Nations role, but Mr. Oja, I want to come to you about this FATF meeting. As you mentioned about India must do a lot of things. So, considering the situation, I mean, considering the long rope that FATF has given to Pakistan, do you think Indian diplomacy is doing enough?
As I said earlier also, Ajay, this is a war, and in war, a very complex kind of war where diplomacy has its role. We cannot entirely rely on diplomacy. Yes, as far as FATF route is concerned, here we have to talk through diplomatic channels, bring pressure, bring to their information. because last October 21-23, this thing, plenary meeting, this was very clear. FATF had said that Pakistan can move to even blacklist. So February, this meeting is due, and before February, they are trying to convince FATF.
But Mr. Oja, this is the third time. At the third plenary, FATF has said that we are putting you on grey list and you may be blacklisted. I mean, this is the third warning.
I had written a paper, Ajay, that has come out in False Lines, which is a magazine on conflict and conflict resolution. So very categorically that Pakistan had met all the conditions to be placed in blacklist in 2017 itself, but somehow FATF has taken a very persuasive kind of route rather than a deterrent kind of approach. FATF has been very lenient, and this is what causes some degree of suspicion. I mentioned earlier also there are some covered quarters. I don't know who these quarters are, but they are very powerful quarters built in the Western world, and of course their latest benefactor is China. All these forces have been somehow, been protecting Pakistan, rather ensuring that Pakistan does not walk into this grey list or this blacklist. And as I earlier also said, this organized crime is a massive business. It's a worldwide massive business, and Pakistan has been enjoying a kind of clandestine clout. And terrorism may be a small component of this massive clout or massive empire which Pakistan is running. So it's not going to be very easy. This is what I suppose, that by doing these small actions like, putting one or two people like Lakhvi, etc., temporarily in prison or guest houses, as previous panelist, he pointed it out. They are just trying to, as I said, hoodwink the international community. This is not sufficient. We have to go a much longer way, expose them internationally. But as I mentioned earlier also, that we have to deny space to Pakistani-run networks on our own territory.
Right.
Because wherever there is organized crime in this part of the world, not Pakistani state may not be directly involved, but many of their proxies may be involved. Pakistan has emerged as the biggest aggregator. I am not saying it because I wish to say, I am saying it on the basis of very comprehensive research that I have carried it out. Pakistan has emerged as the biggest aggregator of global crime, especially the lower end of dirty business or dirty laundering of dirty money, etc. For this end, Pakistan is the biggest aggregator, and that is where, from there, they are deriving their strength to wage these terror attacks. And at the same time, terrorism is one part. Their strategy also involves in certain places where people are alienated to use even democratic means, like protests and other kind of things. So, this capacity, this resource has to be, I would say, destroyed. Because, by putting or undertaking defensive action alone, by, responding this thing, we are not going to succeed. We have to have a multi-pronged strategy. We have to see how can we break their resolve.
Right.
And of course, FATF is one channel, I would say, but FATF is not the only channel. If we think we just go diplomatically, present evidence, and FATF will take action and it will succeed, I'm sorry, this is not going to succeed. Even if I said the other day that we are able to knock out some of their camps and we think that terrorism is going to come to an end, I don't think it's going to come to an end. We have to have a multi-pronged strategy, but yes, this particular action is purely to hoodwink international community in wake of forthcoming FATF plenary session, I would say.
Right. So, Brigadier Datta, I told you I'll come back to you on UN role. Yeah. Now, talking about Lakhvi. Lakhvi is a proscribed militant by UNSC. And the same UNSC recently granted him 1.5 lakh rupees grant at the request of the Pakistan government that he can get that money every month. So, how can we see this UN, which is proscribing a terrorist and then allowing him money also, funds also?
Yeah, this is really very appalling that, he was recommended, Pakistan had recommended that, 1.5 lakh rupees of pension or stipend, whatever you want to call it, was sanctioned to him. I mean, by no stretch of imagination, the same
UNSC has sanctioned him. And the same UN Security Council says that he is a global terrorist. He has been involved not only in terrorist activities in India, but in Afghanistan, Chechnya, Iraq, Bosnia. And at the same time, it is allowing him to get money, 1.5 lakh every month.
Yes. Yeah, you are right. And the UN, Security Council should also ask Pakistan as to, there has to be some method in madness also. Because you cannot, if the cases are on, and if he's a international offender or a terrorist of that level, Pakistan should put some fast track courts and take a decision. If he's on bail, I mean, you just can't arrest him, days before the FATF meeting. Secondly, the role of China. You see, China is playing a very major role, and it is one of the major financiers of UN. So, our honorable Prime Minister had already raised questions on this issue when he was speaking last in the United Nations. That yes, the charter and the role of United Nations has to be redefined. It is, like League of Nations was formed after World War I. This was formed after World War II. So it is high time that we must revamp this organization, and they should stop, allowing such kind of activities, which is totally against the world community.
So, Mr. Oja, I'll ask you the same question about the UN role. UNSC has sanctioned Lakhvi and declaring him as a global terrorist, but at the same time, it allows him money, funds, or stipend every month. So, how does it reflect upon the UNSC?
Well, in many areas, UN has said, we all are aware, most powerful country in the world has been bypassing UN, and so is another powerful country like China has been evading, even on many issues. So UN bureaucracy is not in a position to contain it. And let us assume the fact that most countries, most powerful countries, they are guided by their own interests. And I pointed it out to you. They find utility in maintaining some kind of underhand contact with Pakistan, whether it is for counter-terrorist strategy or for whatever reason.
If I may interrupt you, Mr. Ojai, as you talked about all countries act according to their interests. So let us talk about Mumbai attack of 2008. Foreign nationals, including Americans, were killed in that terror attack, and Lakhvi is the mastermind. UNSCA sanctioned him in that connection. So it is their interest to see that Lakhvi is punished, isn't it? So where are the Americans now?
Look, American in same, this Ghulam Nabi 5 case surfaced in America, and that also some British people have done it. There are a large number of lobbies within America also in their security establishment, think tanks, etc. They are saying that American taxpayers' money is being fed to Pakistan, and Pakistan is using that money to slaughter and kill American nationals. So there is lack of cohesion in parts of America, because one of the reasons, very sad thing which has come to our notice is the fracturing of, I would say, the perception in America, a very fractured perception. There are 4, 5, 6 different establishments are there within America. They all have divergent views.
Right.
So there's need for cohesion in part of that state also, that every citizen of that country also matters. And this kind of, even if somebody is maintaining this kind of nexus with Pakistan, this is not in their long-term interest. Because all said and done, we have to concede this thing. We should not break it up, because, it's past that sections of American establishment have been somehow, I would say, promoting and encouraging Pakistan for a long time. And Pakistan continues to have some benefactors within their establishment even now. And that is the precise reason that Pakistan has not faced a more severe action from the United States, even after Osama bin Laden was caught in their territory.
Right. So before we conclude, Brigadier Datta, I want to ask you about the same, the failure of UNSC or America also. If we talk about 2008 Mumbai attack, India has provided mounts of evidence, not only to Pakistan but the entire world community, about involvement of Lakhvi, how he was in contact, phone contact with the terrorists, all the terrorists who operated in Mumbai. But despite that, the world has failed. It's not only UNSC, but the world, America including. What do you say?
Yeah, yes, Kaul Sahib, you're right, because you see, when America's interests are there, when somebody hits America's belly, then they react. But when
as I mentioned earlier, the American citizens were also among those killed, among 166 killed.
Exactly. So, this, lackadaisical attitude on America also, because America, beyond doubt, is a superpower and is controlling the substantial, verticals in the United Nations. So it is high time that, yes, America should put, what was happened in this Osama bin Laden's case, when Operation Neptune Spear was planned. So that time they could enter Pakistan and pinpoint and kill those things. If you take the like Kunitara operations or operations in Syria. So now it is high time that America should make its presence make its presence. The impact should be seen in the world. Otherwise, the impact and the credibility of America is degrading and denuding day by day. And as there has been a white paper in China that yes, the Chinese government is going to overtake the
Right.
American economy, the American political status. So that day is not very far when America will be dwarfed. So it is high time that America should maintain its stature and
So,
should
yeah.
maintain the status.
America's credibility.
I just add one sentence, if
Yeah,
you
please.
allow me.
Yeah, please.
That, in this region, we have to spearhead war on terrorism. We need not do it American way, but I think it is our obligation, our commitment, our responsibility, and it is in our interest to destroy the very resolve and capacity of Pakistani state to maintain these terror infrastructures. And
Right.
this is not sufficient that we fight them only when they come to our territory. Wherever they are, that has to be destroyed. I don't know how many people.
Yeah,
are
we had
missing and how
to take
seriously
the
they
fight
take
to the enemy camp, right? I have been saying earlier also.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but thank you both of you for participating in the program today. This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.